A city wrapped in a veil of fog and overcast shadows. There's only sunshine 20% of the year, but the air is crisp, light, and fresh. The winters are dark and wet, but the summer months, man, the summer months. The sun is out 16 hours a day. Mount Rainier is out in full force, and she demands the attention of anyone who walks beneath her. Evergreen trees stand tall, bald eagles call out atop the deep blue Puget Sound. The Olympic Mountains shine in the distance with their snow-covered peaks. The streets are busy, the traffic is horrendous, but there's so much to see. Children file up and down sidewalks near Pike Place Market. There's a coffee shop on every corner. Chinatown is as busy as ever. The old brick buildings on Pioneer Square remind us of a time of what architecture used to be. I remember it all. I remember day trips with my grandparents to Gasworks Park, burgers and shakes at Dick's Drive-In on the way home, Mariners games with my dad and my brother. If you know anything about baseball, Mariners are not the easiest team to support, but I could not imagine supporting anybody else. Special occasions called for dinner in the Space Needle, rotating as we dine, giving us full aerial views of another breathtaking Pacific Northwest sunset. It all seems so distant now, so far off. The Emerald City these days seems to have lost a little bit of its shine. Every time I return home, my memories are blurred of a place I thought I used to know. Nowadays in Seattle, freeway walls, posts throughout the city are masked in graffiti. The city of tents protrudes out from underneath the highway. An empty gravel lot near our Seahawks' own home turf is now home to a community of decaying RVs and ancient school buses. A trip down Broadway, you'd be greeted by present-day zombies, as we call them. Sounds funny, it's not funny at all. These are struggling addicts, sleeping, cowering over mattresses of cardboard. City steps and gardens throughout the city are littered with used needles, burnt tinfoil shreds. These are struggling souls sleeping in the streets, untethered from reality. This is the bleak midwinter. This story has become all too familiar in Seattle and has been culminating over the past decade. King County has a homeless population of about 17,000 people. In a given year, you could expect to have about 1,300 overdose deaths. So where are the elected politicians, the public servants? How are they serving the public? How are they protecting our communities? What steps have they taken? Well, some of the steps include establishing safe drug injection zones in the open public throughout the city, largely decriminalizing fentanyl, methamphetamine, and heroin, and giving struggling addicts free housing in the middle of downtown. They like to say, prioritize treatment solutions over arrests and judgments. Sounds very kind on paper, but $1 billion of state funds spent over the past decade, a lot of it shelled out to nonprofits who ironically seem to profit off of the decay of Seattle. And where do we find ourselves? What are the hard truths? The truth is that we have a city with a long list of blue politicians who I believe weaponize empathy very effectively. In Seattle, they feed off of white-collar tech jobs, a large student population, which overwhelmingly, systematically votes in their advantage. The lawlessness of Seattle can be summed up by an attack on December 23rd, just this past year. Not the best picture quality, but you get the point. There's a lady waiting patiently at a crosswalk when suddenly she's struck from behind by a wooden club with nails protruding at the end of it, something like a zombie apocalypse. The lady would lose her eye. She would fracture bones in her face. The club is wielded by a homeless man just strolling behind her. I think what's very galling is the policeman who quoted at the scene, "He's one of our regulars." Usually he just throws punches at people. Today he decided to escalate from the usual. This man has racked up several violent assault charges in each of the past few years. It's all public knowledge. And in every single occasion, he's been released shortly thereafter by judges in King County. Maybe if the taxpayer could just spend a little bit more, right, then we could convince this guy, stop with the violent outbursts, man. Seattle's not alone, though. Up and down the entire West Coast, many of our once great cities are being brought to their knees. Politicians continue to wreak havoc. I believe that corruption, greed are largely contributing to the degradation of the environments built by previous generations. Once great cities now look more and more like third world countries. They're nearly unrecognizable. So where do we go from here? How do we climb ourselves out? Some people say we vote out the problem. I can tell you much easier said than done in some of these places. I think the wounds are too deep, though. I don't think the initial bleeding has even stopped. And I don't think a shift in politics would do the trick. I'm not here to discuss politics or lecture anybody on their politics. I'm interested in change. How do we bring about change? I think the only way we have change is through a spiritual change. We need a return to morality, a return to justice, repentance, and ultimately, a return to God. The Seattle virus, hopefully never coming to a city near you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Well done.